Hello, Kelly here with Kelly's Soroka Life with our day 8 of our Spring Magical Challenge with the new moon in Aries. So today I'm coming to you very late in the evening, well, late for me for Saturday evening, because it's been a day. It's been one of those days where I have just been doing other things all day long and just haven't had time to sit down at my computer and really talk about what's going on. So, what I had planned for the challenge for today is because a tax day is coming up, and for Americans in 10 days, April 15th is tax day here. And this is kind of the time of year that people think about their finances because, for whatever reason, it's a time to think of their finances around this time because of tax day and going into spring and summer and after coming out of the winter here where we are. And so and we all are affected by money and finances and the energetics of trade and in whatever way and wherever you are and however you get money, however you spend money. It's all part of our life. And some of us have very good relationships with money and feel good about finances. And a lot of us don't. A lot of us have very hard relationships with money. And it's because it's such a hard thing sometimes to do. Some of us grow up and nobody talks about money. Some of us grow up in, just kind of like having to do for ourselves. Some of us grow up in very uh, or affluent households, and so money is never really a problem. I grew up in just kind of, very middle class household, but I never felt like I was wanting for anything. Never felt food insecure or that money was going to run out or anything like that because my dad worked full time. My mom, she stayed home with us until my sister and I until we were in probably middle school, and then she went back to work part time. And then when we got older, she went back to work full time. And but by then, we were doing a lot of things, and so her going back to work was just kind of, because everybody was doing their thing, everybody was pulling their weight, and getting going. My sister and I were both off to college, and those kinds of things cost money, and but I never felt insecure. And even though both of my parents came from not very, they came from very poor families, and but they all made, good relationships with each other. And so, the things that we got together, we celebrated things together, we celebrated the good times, we celebrated the bad times, and both sides of my family. And so it was never anything that I really felt insecure about with money. And I've never really felt insecure about money, not in a very urgent way. Since then, I've always been able to, have a job to pay for the things that I wanted to have and things like that. So it's always been something that I've always been able to relate to. But then, money is something that is very important, and it is, then, getting older and having kids and teaching my kids about money and how to save and things like that. And they all have different personalities and all do it in different ways and all relate to money in different ways. And so that's been a challenge too, to make sure that, we're doing, what we can to help them, but not over support them either. And so that's been interesting as we've gotten older. So, just think about your relationship with money and how you can improve. If you feel like that it needs to be improved, what can you do to improve it? What one step can you take to improve it? Because it's not going to happen overnight. You're just not going to wake up the next day and feel really good about money if you always felt bad about it. But it is a process, and you can work through it. You can start working through it. So that is my challenge today is just think about your relationship with money. And I'm going to put a reading that you can do so that you can do a reading with it with tarot cards and oracle cards. And you can also do some journaling along with it too. So you'll have that. And it's just you're getting working through a financial fear. And you can do that. And that will be your challenge for today. And we have a good evening. Plan to have a good evening, and I will see you again tomorrow for our next challenge. Bye.